This is Brian from Winter Garden Yoga, and I wanted to give you a little tip to help improve your half bridge. In my opinion, the goal of half bridge is to extend your hips. And the way to extend your hips is that we have to contract the muscles on the back side of your body. Muscles like your hamstrings and your glutes. Of course, we'll also activate the core, the deeper levels of the core, in order that your trunk stabilizes. And then as you extend your hips, your hips will come up, your pelvis will rotate correctly, and we'll feel a lot of activation on the back side of the body. So here's what we're going to try to do. Let's do this muscle activation technique together. This is my left leg. It's bent, the left knee is bent. My left foot is on the ground. My left foot's going to stay relaxed. I'm not going to grip with my toes. I'm going to keep my foot relatively relaxed. Now from here, I'm going to isometrically drag my heel towards my body. You may not see it, but there's activity in my leg as I'm trying to bend my knee, heel to the ground, and I start to feel my hamstrings tighten up. So give this a try. Go easy. You're not trying to go for a maximum contraction right out of the gate. But the more you isometrically drag your heel towards yourself, the more you're going to contract your hamstring. And we'll try the other side. This is my right knee, right foot. Right foot stays relatively relaxed. I'm going to try to bend my knee. The knee flexion is dragging my heel isometrically toward my body, and I feel this hamstring, I should say this group of hamstrings, get tighter. I'm creating a muscle contraction here. Now by creating this muscle contraction is going to help me extend my hips. And in my opinion, that's the goal of the half bridge. So let's see if we can apply it to the half bridge. So lie flat on your back. Bring your knees to your chest. Lie flat on the ground. Let your feet touch the ground. Put your feet in a spot that it's comfortable for your knees. Your feet may need to be further away, or your feet may be closer to your body. It's going to be dependent on the comfort of your knees. Try to keep your knees vertical. Now as I'm lying flat on my back, on the inside, I'm going to do what's called a Kegel. I'm going to pull all my rectum muscles up into my body. I'm pulling my pelvic floor up into my body. It's going to stabilize the lower part of my core, and it's going to help stabilize my low back. It's called the Kegel. And the next, so keep the Kegels going. The next contraction is called a Posterior Pelvic Tilt. I'm tilting my pelvis in a way that I'm completely flat on the ground. When you lie flat on the ground, you may get a little bit of a lumbar curve, which is totally normal. We want to kind of tilt in a way that we get rid of that lumbar curve. That's just for added stability and added strength. So we have the Kegels, we have the posterior pelvic tilt. Now, keeping the feet relatively relaxed, we're going to drive down with our heels. They go down and towards my torso. Down and towards my torso. And I'm peeling my pelvis up off the ground. Take your hands, palpate your hamstrings. Make sure you feel it in your hamstrings. That's where you're getting the lift off. You might check your glutes also. And we're getting hip extension. And the hip extension should be driven by your hamstrings and your glutes. The Kegel and the posterior pelvic tilt is what's helping to brace your midsection. Hold for about 5 or so deep controlled breaths, and then we lower down one backbone at a time. You're trying to peel yourself to the ground, maintaining all those muscle contractions until you're safe and sound on the ground. Then relax. A couple things to look out for, mainly is the rib cage. There's a tendency where people will push with their arms in their chest. They think that this is a half bridge. They're pushing to get their rib cage up. But if you notice, my hips don't extend. My hips are flexed here. In my opinion, that's not the goal. In my opinion, it's to extend the hips. So you're trying to keep your ribs down. They won't stay on the ground, but we don't want to extend or hypermobilize the rib cage. That's where the abdominal contractions come in. That's where the posterior pelvic tilt comes in to set the rib cage. Keep the rib cage set, posteriorly pelvic tilt, peel yourself off the ground. And that way we're getting hip extension. Roll down. The other thing is to consider, just make sure you're not clenching your teeth or clenching your neck. When you're doing the half bridge pose, it's your hamstrings, glutes, and your core that anchor the position, not your jaw, your neck, or your shoulders. Give that a try.